All right, well, good morning, everybody. It is Sunday morning. It's time for our weekly weather update. For today, we are tracking a chance for a few isolated showers and storms, but it's mainly dry out there. A lot of the rain chances have been into far north Georgia, where we had a 30% chance for rain this morning. And as we head throughout this afternoon, much of us are actually going to get a lot of sunshine. Let's go ahead and talk about what we're dealing with right now, because I do know a lot of people are watching this live, but you may be watching it at a later time. If you are watching this at a later time, a lot of the information is still relevant. Don't worry. And if you're watching it live, of course, these are the actual current conditions that we're dealing with as of 11 a.m. here on Sunday. Taking a look outside, you see that we have a little bit of cloud cover up towards Dahlonega. That's also where we had some rain a little bit earlier on. Look at that anemometer spinning there on the left side of the screen, letting us know the wind speed. And it is really spinning pretty quick there. Let you know it's kind of breezy up there towards the North Georgia mountains right now, where they had some of the rain move through earlier, but even starting to see a little bit of blue sky there. Everything's moving smooth out towards Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, where we have a few planes even on the runway. Nice and blue sky over Truist Park, but unfortunately the Braves aren't in town, taking on the Nationals right now, and they are out of town. But it is beautiful in Atlanta, where we have a nice view of downtown as well. Now the dew points, they're back up there. Remember, yesterday we had dew points in the 40s and 50s. It made for comfortable conditions and pleasant conditions even at times, especially for the morning time frame. But now we're back into that humid and oppressive level of humidity. In other words, tropical, more tropical feeling outside, kind of where we should be this time of year too, whenever we're talking about higher humidity. That's going to stick around for today. It'll take a little bit of a dip as we head into the end of the day on Monday. And then it will stay lower again for Tuesday and Wednesday, but you see by Thursday and Friday another spike in humidity, and then it's really climbing up there as we head into next weekend. Next Saturday back into the 60s to 70s for dew points. It is going to feel more like summertime again here in North Georgia. Looking at radar, you did notice that shower activity that we had into far north Georgia. That was really intense when it was way back into portions of Tennessee and Alabama. You see all the lightning that they had back there. This is as of 5:31 a.m. It dove to the southeast, and as expected, it collapsed as it moved closer to us, and then really just kind of fell apart as it moved over. Now, I'm expecting the same thing to happen to these storms a little bit further off towards the northwest. Right now, we do have some weaker showers and storms that are moving through the Missouri Boot Heel, closer towards Paragould, Arkansas, and then Jonesboro, Arkansas, there in the northeast corner of the state. That's going to continue to move to the southeast, and again, I am expecting that to collapse as it moves down to the southeast. There is still a level 1 risk for strong storms, though, as we head mainly into this evening now across North Georgia. Again, the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma issued this. I think that the main risk, though, is going to be off to our west. They believe so as well, where we have a level 2 risk, a slight risk for a few strong storms. Those will be weakening as they move closer to us. Still, though, make sure you have the 11 Alive app so you can stay updated on the forecast when you're on the go. You get live looks at the radar right there at the top of the screen. You can see that you have a little button that you can click for the radar. Current conditions, it is actually 83 degrees right now in Atlanta. And as we head throughout the next few hours, you see temperatures rising into the lower 90s. It is going to be hot this afternoon. You can download this 11 Alive app right there in the App Store. Just head on over to your whatever the App Store may be named in your phone, and you can go ahead and download it. You can also download the 11 Alive Plus app on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV devices. That way you can stay updated on the forecast and catch more long-form updates, not just on news, but also on weather, like the one you're watching right now. Some of you may even be watching right now on the 11 Alive Plus app, and we appreciate you for downloading that. That way we can keep you informed on the forecast whenever it's relevant for you, because again, you can go back and watch these at a later time if you have that 11 Alive Plus app. Okay, let's talk about the forecast track. This is a little complicated because we have a lot of different weather models that we look at, and they're all kind of calling for different things. Now, this is the graph. This is one of the short-term weather models that we look at, and it's trying to show some shower and thunderstorm activity to move down into central, really northern to middle Georgia by the time we get to about 4 p.m. today. I'm going to be honest, I do not think this is going to happen. I think there is a possibility of some showers and storms tonight, but I think we are going to miss out on the storms as we head throughout this afternoon, and then as we head into this evening is going to be when we have our better chance for rain. Let me go ahead and show you another weather model because I want to give you all an idea about how we handle forecasting here at the with the 11 Alive storm trackers, because again, we do our own forecast. We're not taking forecasts from anybody else. We're doing our own stuff here to give you an idea on what we think is going to happen. Again, I don't think that that first model that you just saw is exactly what we're going to have. We're now looking at the HRRR. This is called the high resolution rapid refresh model. And it is showing us where we could have some showers and storms in by the time we get to about 9-10 o'clock tonight. Notice that there's a line coming in from the northwest here, and it's all kind of weakening as it moves closer to us. And you may be looking at this and saying, oh man, that's a lot of pink and red on the screen. Those look like really intense thunderstorms. Something important to know about the HRRR, this one weather model that we're looking at, is that it always overdoes intensity. So that's a trend. These models have trends that they do. It always overdoes intensity. It is a common run with every model. I think we will see some showers and storms possibly by the time we get to about midnight, 1:30 a.m., and those will continue down through Atlanta around 2-3 o'clock. But I do not think it's going to be at that intensity. That's important to note. So again, some rainfall overnight. Make sure that you have the windows up on the car before you head inside. You don't want to end up having some shower activity impact your the inside of your car. But just know that we could have some shower activity overnight tonight, and then we still could have some rain even into Monday morning. I'm going to bounce this back to the graph. I think we could have some isolated showers tomorrow morning, but by tomorrow afternoon, we could end up having some drier conditions with temperatures into the 80s for highs. The wind switch out of the north as we head into Monday afternoon. We get also lower humidity, like we talked about earlier. We talked about the lower humidity as we headed into the end of the day Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then rain chances go back in as we head into Thursday and Friday. Of course, you see that right here. There's your rain chances bumping back up, but notice that the rain chances are pretty low all throughout this next week. We don't really have any super significant chances for rain, and with that being said, we're expecting less than ½ an inch of rainfall as we hit throughout the next 7 days. So again, not expecting a ton of rain throughout the next week, but we could use some. We are trending on the dry side for this month so far. Only 3 days bringing measurable rainfall so far. Of course, we're only about 9 days in, but we have plenty of the month to go. But you see that we are about 3/4 of an inch behind on rainfall for the month. Looking at the year so far, though, we are still ahead for the year by more than 5 inches, a little over 5 inches ahead on rainfall for the year. And we'll still manage to add a little bit more rain to the rain gauge throughout the next week, but you see that we aren't hurting for the year. It's just really for the month. But because the last month and a half has been a little bit on the dry side, we do have abnormally dry conditions trying to creep back into the region. You see that for portions of Cobb County, stretching over into Douglas County, Fulton County, and then portions of DeKalb County, also under that in Clayton County. But again, it's just abnormally dry conditions. We're not talking about drought. Much of the southeast really doing fine as far as rainfall is concerned. And let's go ahead and take a look out to the west. The last few weeks, we've been keeping an eye on this one spot of exceptional drought that we have into southeast New Mexico. It is still there, but it is amazing that is the only exceptional drought in the United States right now. Typically, we have huge swaths of it somewhere, but it has been a very active spring across much of the region, or across much of the United States, excuse me, for weather. We've talked a lot about the severe storms that they've had out towards the Midwest and into the plains, and that is been also systems that have brought rain to many spots that had more of an exceptional drought that needed some rainfall. So those same systems that have brought severe weather out west, they also brought rain to us. While we didn't have as much in the way of severe weather, we have had a lot of rainfall, and again, that's why we're ahead on rain for the year. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at high temperatures over the next 5 days. Again, we're above average today. We'll hit about 92 for the high. We take a little bit of a dip in the temperatures for the early part of the week, but by the middle to end of the week, we're right back up there into the 90s, which again is above average for this time of year. Here's your 7-day forecast. Again, we're going to see temperatures take a bit of a dip there for Monday, and then we move into the middle to end of the week. We kind of slowly climb back up in temperatures there, and then you also see the rain chances at a 30% chance for Thursday, 30% chance for Friday, just a slight chance in for Saturday. Now, honestly, overnight tonight, I would say it's a higher rain chance than a 30%. That's just for today. Overnight when we're sleeping, the rain chances will be a little bit higher, more like a 60% chance. But then when you wake up tomorrow morning, again, those rain chances will start to go down. So that's the next 7 days. But what about the next 8 to 14 days? We're looking beyond the 7-day forecast now, kind of looking more towards the middle to end of the month of June. Looks like we could trend a little bit above average on temperatures, That for this time of year would be lower 90s. So it could be back into the lower 90s there as we head throughout the middle to end of June, really starting to warm up there into the summer, the swing of the summer months, I guess you could say. And then you see 8 to 14 day outlook for rainfall, maybe above average on rainfall, possibly helping us move away from that dry stretch that we've been having here for April and into, or excuse me, from May and into parts of June. Looking at the tropics, no change for tropical development over the next 7 days. That's the good news. Remember, hurricane season started just a few days ago on June 1st. That's the beginning of hurricane season every year for the Atlantic Basin. The peak is typically around September 10th, and then the end of hurricane season typically around November 30th. You know, a lot of activity really picks up as we head into the kind of early portion of August, and I would say kind of the more peak stretch. It's really those last 2 weeks of August, those first 2 weeks of September. We have a lot of activity typically going on out there in the Atlantic, so still a lot of the season to go. We typically start off the season fairly quiet, so that's not out of the normal. But the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration is calling for a well above average season. The typical season performing with 14 named storms, 7 hurricanes, and 3 of them becoming major hurricanes. But NOAA is calling for 17 to 25 named storms, 8 to 13 of them becoming hurricanes, and 4 to 7 could become major hurricanes. That's from their forecast that they put out back there on May 23rd. The reason why they're calling for an above average season is because we have now moved from a El Nino pattern, to a La Nina. And you may say, well, what does this even mean? It's just words, right? Well, it all has to do with ocean currents and how it impacts our atmosphere. So whenever we have El Nino, typically we have more shear, which is going on down in the Caribbean. And when I talk shear, I'm talking about winds that either increase as you get higher into the atmosphere, faster winds higher up, or maybe in different directions. That's not good for a tropical system. Think about a hurricane has to spin straight up and down like a top. You know, they kind of look like a top when we see them on satellite, correct? You know, it's a big spin. Well, imagine that a big gust of wind is up top and it's kind of pushing it over, leaning it over. That actually is unhealthy for the storm. It's good for us because it weakens the storm, but shear is a bad environment. When there's a lot of shear, it's a bad environment for hurricanes. So when we switch to a La Nina, it creates less shear in the tropics, in the Caribbean area in particular, and that could mean that we end up having not as many named storms. But because we're switching to La Nina, we're going to see shear weaken, and we could end up seeing more tropical systems. Also, they cite the fact that we have well above normal temperatures for this time of year in the tropics right now for the water temperatures. So the sea surface temperature really above average, and when you factor those two things in together, sea surface, of course, and sea temperatures, water temperatures, those fuel storms. So when those two things come together, you end up having the possibility of a more active season. But there is the hope that even if we have an active season, maybe all the storms end up missing land. If we do even get a named storm, our first named storm would be Alberto. We'll then move all the way through the list, and you may be saying, wait a minute, they were forecasting the possibility of more than 21 named storms, and there are only 21 named storms on that list, or 21 names on that list. Well, there's a list of supplemental names that we will go to if we do run out of names. Giving you the Peach State outlook real quick, and you can see that we are going to have some drier conditions in there for Tuesday and Wednesday after some of us deal with storms on Monday. I'm going to go ahead and bring back up the 7-day forecast. Don't forget you can get an update on the forecast whenever you're on the go. Download that 11 Alive Plus app, and you can get it on 11alive.com. Have a wonderful week ahead of you, and we'll keep you updated on everything right here at 11 Alive.